We've already dealt with Edward Snowden. This is the world's most famous whistleblower and current hide-and-seek champion. He's doing very well. He's left the China-owned Hong Kong and gone to Moscow because I imagine if you're in that situation, if you're tired of the UK and the US not respecting the privacy of their citizens, why not travel to China or Russia? Just to take in that irony for a while. Don't get me wrong, I realise this is a very serious story. I don't want everyone knowing what I do or think thanks to the internet, as I tweeted earlier on. Hashtag NSA, hashtag GCHQ, hashtag Child Genius. It's nothing to do with the story, but it was trending and I thought more people might read it. So what some of the developments of this story we've had over the last few days? The US stole lots of text messages from China. Now, the most amazing thing about this story is the number of text messages that are sent in China far outweighs the number of phone calls. In a language where every word has its own character. How big are the keyboards on these phones? It must be typing it all day, although the beauty is, with 160 characters, you can knock out a small novel. That's there's a whole vibe of awkwardness in there right now, isn't it? Right, how's about this one? We can blame some English people for GCHQ have been tapping some of the fibre optic cables that go through British waters. There's a fine line between governments doing bad things and the plot to the next Bond film. This is brilliant. Now they've said they keep the data for 30 days, it's a shitload of data, and they said they've not been misusing this data because they don't have time. That's not a very reassuring. We've not been evil because we're kind of busy. You try the same thing. You ever have a conversation where you have to say, "I've been cheating on you"? Of course not with my schedule. That's never gonna. They've got so much data that they don't have time to process it to do nasty things with it, right? That means a proper defence for Gary Glitter could have been me, a paedophile. What with all of these images? No. But it's a very serious thing. I've tried to write stuff about this all day, and I really struggle because it's a story. I've got to be honest with you. I don't care about it, right? And people say, well, don't you think it's wrong that governments can spy on their own people? Yeah, I do. But I'm also old enough to realise that life generally is a slow process of being f***ed on by the people above you. That's what it is. Just strap in and accept it. I'm in my 30s now, that's all I've got. We live in a society where there's this whole trickle-down thing. We live in a world where the principle is give rich people more money, so some of the shitty money they don't want anymore will be thrown in our direction. Some of those scrambled up fivers, maybe like a jar of coins, shit like that, that's what we'll get. We live in a world where bankers can up, we pay for it, but if you go into your overdraft, they fine you. We live in a world where companies get rich over that annoying trait that we've got of needing to drink water to stay alive. We live in a world where there's VAT on clothing, like it's not a necessity, and yet you walk down the street naked, you get a £200 fine. Don't ask how I know this. So when you get told that all of a sudden the people above you are shitting on you by reading your emails, I'm not going to pull a surprised face. It's not that shocking. In fact, you know what? It's good. Because if people above me are reading my emails, they might finally find out that we all think they're only way to go. Although some of the